What is up, everybody? How's it going? Hope you're doing good. I'm doing basically, if I seem a little bit less energetic and weird in today's review, I can barely say that word, is because I have got, I don't know, a sinus infection or a toothache. I don't know if the sinus infection is causing the toothache for, you know, basically sometimes people mistake it for a toothache because it basically triggers this nerve, which basically causes pain, and basically my ear feels like steam's coming out of it. I'm sure some of you have had experience with this before, so ouch, ouch, ouch. And I'm dosed up on painkillers, so I'm a bit drowsy, to say the least. And the reason why I need to get it up, guys, is because this episode was fantastic, and how can I hold my thoughts in anymore, because it was amazing. There's things that I'm still unsure about, but I'm still reserving judgment until the whole storyline is finished. But guys, holy crap. But before I get into this video, if you happen to be new here on this channel, why not subscribe for more Gotham videos just like this? I'm sure you'll like it if you're a Gotham fan, so why not hit that bell button, and be sure to turn notifications on, because YouTube doesn't like to send notifications out to everybody, just people they think it might work, or like who'd be interested. And of course, if you do happen to find yourself enjoying this video at any point in time of the video, why not hit that like button, because it really does help this channel out, and share it with your friends as well, to spread the word of the BobaTalks. Now, as always on this channel, I don't necessarily talk about things in chronological order. I just kind of wing it. It's just off the top of my head. So what did I think of this episode? It was just mind-blowing. I've already said that, but that's because we got the introduction of Jeremiah, or should I say Xander to Jeremiah. Obviously, that was a fake name, but there was also a lot of things that Gotham fans are finding inconsistent, like the age difference. You know, when Jerome said things like, you know, I've been waiting 15 years for this moment, and things like that. It's like, wait, what were you, freaking like 4 or 5? It's just, wait, well, I'll get to that, because there is stuff to talk about there. But honestly, guys, what did I tell you? And you knew this anyway. Every episode of Gotham from right now until the finale is going to be just basically as good as this. And now Jeremiah's been introduced, and the Joker storyline, the birth of the Joker storyline, is at full, you know, full speed. It is gonna crash and burn, but in a good way. Let's just say the Gotham City's got to crash and burn in a bad way for Gotham, but in a good way for us. This episode also consisted of the Riddler Factory, or the Riddler Game Show. That was pretty cool. The thing is, out of all the villains on Gotham, obviously Penguin as well, Corey Michael Smith, and Jerome, this is what I mean, the freaking painkillers. My brain is going slow. But basically, those two, the Riddler and the Joker, are very theatrical, and that is what we got from also the Riddler in this episode. Very interesting, a very interesting twist in the story arc as well, with Lee Tompkins. I didn't see that coming. A lot of people are asking me what is going on. I might save that for my Q&A. I don't know how many questions I'm going to answer today, because freaking pain and all that. But yeah, that was interesting to say the least. I don't know how. I am enjoying. I do love Marina Baccarin, basically. But I do feel like Gotham, it's just kind of like the Barbara storyline. Even though I'm enjoying what's going on with Lee right now, it just also feels, I feel a bit uncomfortable with it. Going back to what I just said about Barbara, like they've changed her from one thing to a holy crap, you know, difference. And now the same thing with Lee, this lovely long-haired lab coat doctor in the morgue, or whatever you want to call it, in the GCPD. Now, you know, slight little bit of a change, and now she's like, hey Ed, how many banks can you rob? Oh, what's your record? Well, I bet you can beat that, Ed, if let me kiss you. Let me kiss you, and maybe you can beat that record. So as for the Riddler Game Show, I loved it. I definitely thought it was very Riddlery. Obviously it's very Riddlery, because the Riddler has taken over the Edward Nygma kind of side. I am now left wondering if they are going to trying to do it like a split personality, but merged, you know, where Edward Nygma is there, as well as the Riddler, because that's kind of the case anyway, because, you know, the Riddler, when it came to Marina coming on stage, Leslie Tompkins, she basically accessed that part, you know, the love part, was basically trying to tempt the Ed side out, and he was all in denial, saying, you know, that little, I can't remember what he was calling Ed, but poor Ed, you know, dust mite or something like that. He's still there, even though the Riddler's taken over. And it seems, I really think that the final product we might get of the Riddler could very well be both sides of the personality embracing each other, and that kind of did happen by the time they kissed. And what did I think of that kiss? I've already kind of said it's just a bit weird what's going on right now. Does Lee really feel this way about Ed, or is she just using him? I think she might be. I think Lee's in a bit of a screw it mode right now. I don't think she is in love with Ed necessarily. It's the other way around for sure. Obviously, that was the whole point of their storyline this episode. But I think as for Lee, she's like, yeah, why not? I guess, you know, I'm attracted to him or something. But and I liked the Edward side when they were hanging out together. But I could also use him a little bit. But we're going to have to wait and see how that pans out. But now, guys, I want to get right down to business with the whole stuff with Jeremiah. When Bruce basically went to go see the guy at the Saint... I can't remember the place of the school. But basically, saw the guy. We saw him blow up in the trailer as well. The white band trailer. But the interesting thing as well is I feel like Gotham... Maybe I'm the idiot, but a lot of people seem to be asking the same question. It's very confusing what they're doing in terms of how Thomas Wayne met Xanderwald when he was, you know, he must have been very, very young. And also at one point in the episode when, you know, Jerome went to see Jeremiah, he also said, like, I've been waiting 15 years for this. And it's just like, okay, does anyone remember the line from Jim Gordon in season 2? Jerome VALESKA, 18 years old, matricide. And it's just like, right, okay, so Jerome was 18 in season 2. He died. He was put on ice for a year, so he was still technically 18 in season 3. Give it a year as well in Arkham. 19 by season 4. Maybe 20, okay, if you want to push it, like, because of dates of birthdays or whatever. So what was he, like 5? At max, 5 years old when Jerome, you know, when he left the circus, Jeremiah this is, and was, you know, he a young prodigy at that school when he was 5. Now, I will say, a young prodigy does mean like a very, 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 very bright child. However, that's a bit of a stretch for me. I feel like Gotham may be a little bit off by like a handful of years, because just everything, do you see what I mean, that is a bit weird and working its way out there. But I would love to know if anyone can explain that in the comments below. But I feel like even if you try and make sense of it, it's like they definitely are off by a couple years. So what, did Jeremiah leave the circus when he's like 5? Did he go to that school and help meet up with Thomas Wayne so he could design whatever Thomas Wayne wanted him to design at such a young age of 5, maybe 6 max? It's a bit weird. But apart from that kind of complainty side over it, not necessarily complaint, but like, you know, puzzly confusion question side over, I really, really enjoyed Cameron Monaghan's portrayal of this episode. Jesus, Louises, Papa Jesus, Jerome did a absolutely fantastic job. I mean, there's so many Joker references in this episode, guys. I know that might be obvious to some of you, but there's so many. Like, for example, when Jerome first woke up and he was talking to the CCTV camera. I just love how that says CCTV on it. Couldn't be any more obvious. Jerome said something like, oh, you are incorrigible. And then again, you always were. Oh, wait, was that me? Sometimes I get so confused, I can't remember. That was just, why can't Jerome be the Joker? It's just like, that was just obviously such a reference to, you know, it's a kind of the Killing Joke, but also just the multiple origin story, where he fell into the chemical vat. I shouldn't need to explain this, but for those who really don't know, the Joker doesn't genuinely cannot remember what side of events, you know, if things happened in terms of what he was like before. Even Heath Ledger's adaptation mirrored this, where he's like, and every time he says, like, you know, you want to know how I got these scars? Every time he told a different story. And that is the point, and I love it. And I know Jerome is going to be a Joker, but this was the show's poking, you know, way of poking fun at that, and that was brilliant. Now, before I actually talk about Jeremiah, I want to talk about Echo, because everyone seems to be talking about, is Echo Harley Quinn? Now, in this episode, you know, there isn't so much to talk about specifically, apart from a couple of notes. She was hypnotized by the Mad Hatter. We worked that out by the promo photos. Well, you guys did. You actually pointed that out in the comment section of that trailer breakdown. But either way, there was this reference that Jeremiah said, like, she wouldn't, basically when Jim was like, you know, she's under his spell or whatever, she was like, you know, she's devoted her life to me, I can't leave her. And then just the fact that she resembles Harley Quinn, I guess you could say, the skirt and everything like that, it just reminds me of like the Arkham-y kind of Harley Quinn. They very much, what I will say is Gotham, as I always like to say, do their own versions of things, and that there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I will say, if they do try and make her Harley Quinn, I was definitely not about it, but now there are more clues hinting that they could be doing their own version of it, just like how they're doing their own version of the Joker. You don't have to copy and paste, as I freaking said this 1,000 times, but that, you know, that you literally don't have to copy and paste from the comics for it to be cool, and you don't have to criticize the show saying, it's not like the comics, that isn't good. No, it is good. Like, The Dark Knight was its own version of things, and people loved it. But obviously with this, if they are planning on when Jeremiah makes his birth into the Joker, and obviously Echo might, because she's so devoted to this man and has protected him for so long from, potentially Jerome and other things like that, basically been his henchman and bodyguard, I think it does definitely stray away from the fact of the Dr. Harleen Quinzel storyline in Arkham Asylum and blah, 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 blah. So my provisional thoughts is that she could die, or like she is the proto-Harley, meaning the earliest form of Harley Quinn without being Harley. But as I said, I could definitely now see they might not be going with a proto. They might actually, she's so devoted to him that she might stick with him when he's the Joker, makes his transformation into the Joker. So, I could see Gotham doing their own thing with this, and it's not a bad thing. It really isn't a bad thing. I know some people are such fans of the poetic, kind of romantic, crazy way that Harley Quinn was as driven crazy by the Joker in Arkham, but this is also interesting too. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below, because they definitely could do this with everything that is yet to come in the final several episodes. Obviously, my favorite part of this episode was the whole labyrinth thing. There's so much to discuss there, and I'm so sure I'm going to miss something out in this review, and I know it's going to be a long-ass review, but stuff like this warrants it more than ever, because I talk so much, and with this kind of detail in the episode, that, oh my god, it's like I need to, like, talk forever about it. And one of my favorite characters in Gotham, amongst Alfred, it's normally these other characters, not like, oh yeah, Jerome VALESKA, or like necessarily the Penguin, even though he's my favorite villain, are Harvey Bullock. And what did Harvey do in this episode that made me so happy is, oh no, not again, and he just kept going out my ear. But yeah, he kept going and going, and I just love that little, like, small smile that Jim gave. You could argue that, yes, that was genuinely Jim, but I felt like that was, like, genuinely Ben McKenzie laughing at Donald Logue's performance as he ran after the Mad Hatter and started shooting at the Mad Hatter and Scarecrow. But obviously I want to talk about that other bit that was going on at that time, because obviously Jerome escaped as well and spoke to Jeremiah VALESKA in person, and they did such a good Orphan Blackie kind of moment. And if you don't know what I mean, it's just where they have two actors on the screen at the same time, and it looks like it's real, but it obviously isn't. It was fantastically done. Now, there's so much to talk about here. I do want to rewind back a couple of seconds, well, not a couple of seconds, but to earlier in the episode where we first met Jeremiah with his hands up like that, where Jim and Harvey were talking to him, and they were like, oh my god, but then calm down. But he told the stories that started off the thing I will be talking about, but he told the stories of how, they were born different kind of thing. Jerome was always basically bullying him, was a psychopath, killed animals, very typical psychopathic tendency, kind of weird crap like that is very real in the real world today that make somebody like Jerome, or so it seems, but we're going to get into that. He said, like, how Jerome held up a blade to his throat one day, I can't remember the rest of the line, but also, lit his bed on fire, and basically, that's why he left the circus, and basically, his mum sent him letters and blah, 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 and his mum, he didn't speak of, Jerome never spoke of Jeremiah again, according to his mother in the letters, because of obvious reasons. I found it interesting that Jeremiah said that the uncle took him away to this other place, I'm assuming whether that's the college or just, whatever age he was then, this young prodigy. Because, like, that uncle was an abuser, right? So is there more to that side of the story? So, well, like, he didn't abuse Jeremiah. But now on to the beefy stuff where they actually spoke together. And we learned really huge details where you actually really, really do feel sorry for Jerome, because we basically learned that Jerome didn't do any of these things, as far as we're aware. In that moment, or it's teased that he didn't really actually do any of these things, and it was the fact that his own flesh and blood, Jeremiah VALESKA, convinced everyone that Jerome was doing all of this stuff against Jerome, all of his loved ones against him. Jeremiah not only poisoned everybody's mind that Jerome loved, including his mother's, that they all turned against him, and that drove, like, Jerome insane, and think how isolated you'd feel with that kind of stuff, all these stories being told about you. You can start to understand and feel a bit sorry for Jerome. Even the way Jerome Cameron was saying it in that scene, you got a little gap into Jerome which was very special. But I feel like this says more about Jeremiah, obviously, than Jerome VALESKA. I mean, I know I've just said it, but he said, like, you tried to make her think I killed you, put a blade to her throat, tried to light your bed on fire, and he was just like, well, we both know you wanted to, and it just makes me think, well, he just literally thought Jerome wanted to do that. What if Jeremiah actually has some of these tendencies himself? What if all of this was in Jeremiah's head and it's what he wanted to do to Jerome? And Jerome didn't obviously do any of this. We know this now. And what kind of makes me think that Jeremiah actually had all these dark thoughts in his head rather than Jerome actually doing these things is that when Harvey said, what if this guy's a weirdo just like his brother or something like that? And immediately Jeremiah got very, reacted to that straight away. Says, I'm nothing like Jerome. Where I think that Jerome, all these things he made up about Jerome is actually him inside, but he just didn't act on them and lied about them potentially, and I find this fascinating on Jerome's end, and that thus created Jerome, the proto-Joker, and I feel like all of this is actually really inside Jeremiah, and he had all of these temptations that he wanted to do, but left, but all of this is still inside him, and you never know, and either way, we know he's turning into the Joker, so he's going to be insanely dark, especially as he made all of this stuff up, and Jerome didn't do any of it, so yeah. Now, we also learned how freaking smart Jeremiah is. He invited the top 3 maze, creationists or whatever in the country to guess his maze, and it took them 3 days to figure it out. But we also learned that Jerome is just as intelligent as his brother. He said, this also gave it a huge hint as well. He says, we both think the same. He paid attention when he was kids. He knows how to work this stuff out, and I found that the fact that the line "we both think the same" is very, very important, because the fact that they are so similar means that Jeremiah has just as much capability, especially with what I just said a second ago, to be this crazy as Jerome, to snap. And as Jerome says, especially with everything he went through, well, all it takes is one bad day, or I guess with you, it's more like one bad spray. You'll see. And that is a very important line, guys, because, I guess with you, it's more like one bad spray, because Joker gas, Joker venom, Joker toxin, he's obviously going to use that on Jeremiah VALESKA. But I think he's going to try and make him go mad beforehand. Obviously, he's going to try and do everything. And Jeremiah freaking basically deserves it. Everything probably, if not worse, get his revenge on Jeremiah. And then he'll do the grand finale on Jeremiah, give him the Joker toxin. And that will probably kill him. But I think it will also birth him into the Joker somehow. I don't know if he's going to get brought back to life, and that's going to make him a permanently effed up person, but we're going to have to wait and see there. And the reason why I say I think it might kill Jeremiah, but he might still have a rebirth, is because Gotham do love to bring people back to life. It's just freaking what they do. But also the freaking Joker toxin kills people. We saw in this episode the amazing moment, which I also want to say I absolutely adored, of the debut of the Joker venom. It stretched the smiles, and it basically kills you. It's got a massive mix of chemicals that basically makes you laugh to death. Amongst many other things, you saw the guys bleeding from the eyes. I think that does kill everyone, and I still think it's going to happen with Jeremiah, but don't worry, obviously he's going to be brought back. It also seems to turn your skin pale, but we're gonna have to wait and see. I would love to know your theories in the comments below in regards to that. But I think when Jeremiah gets brought back after the Joker venom, possibly that might mean he'll come back in a permanent mad state from the Joker venom, on top of what Jerome did to him prior to giving him the Joker venom, which drives him mad. But also, I can't remember off the top of my head, but did anyone notice that pin that Jeremiah had on his tie? To me, it looks like a jester hat. Like, I swear it's like the 3 little things of the jester hat, or a clown hat, or a Joker hat, whatever way you want to call it. I cannot confirm this, but I swear it resembles it. It's very deliberately done, and obviously, what is this man going to become one day? The Joker. So I love it. I love how this is all piecing together. But honestly, I know I've gone on about this segment of the review for a while, but I find it fascinating how Jeremiah made all of this stuff up about Jerome, and subsequently created Jerome being a bad, insane guy, but he would have been a normal guy. And I just makes you feel so sorry for him, even though he is insane now. And I saw this YouTube comment. I can't remember where I read it. It might have been on my Q&A post, but it's fascinating as well how each other version of these Jokers, one, the actual Joker, Jerome, the proto-Joker, created each other. Jeremiah created the Joker Jerome, and Jerome is now going to create the Joker, the actual Joker in Jeremiah. So poetic justice or injustice, I don't know. Now, I really hope I didn't miss anything out there. If I did, let's talk about it in the comment section, guys. But now I need to move on to something else before this review is over, since it's already long enough as it is. And that is, I've got my notes written down here, Butch and Pengy, or should I say, Grundy and the Penguin. Obviously, he comes to him with a proposal that was in the synopsis, and we learn, and this is where I've talked about Indian Hill coming back towards the end of this season, Hugo Strange. It seems to all be coming into play now since the Penguin offered Butch, basically, and I'm not blowing my own whistle at all. I just saw this coming. I said a couple of reviews ago that I said it in my most recent videos, that Penguin really, I don't think he agrees with everything that is going on with Jerome, and he also said, guys like this fizzle out, and I need to rise up. Penguin will always be ambitious to take over the city, and want to be the top crime boss. And he says to Butch that obviously he used to be up there with him, and he wants him up there again. Now, those two together will be very, very, very powerful. But obviously, Grundy is in a very depressive state. To be honest, you can't not feel for the guy. I love the way the show and this episode have portrayed that. This guy has now come back to his own, and I don't mind Gotham at all. I know some people don't like it, but I like the original kind of new Grundy character they've made through the character they made before Butch Gilzine into a split kind of new character, an original, well, it's not original new character, but you know what I'm trying to say. But he's very tortured. He's lost the one, obviously, who loved him. But just as he was about to basically finish Penguin off, Penguin mentioned that he's got an Indian Hill barrel right from where the swamp where Grundy got created, and that he will be able to reverse the condition because he knows and will find the one person who can do that, and that is good old Hugo Strange. Now, obviously, that is going to be coming. It couldn't be any more obvious. But one thing I will say is I don't think that is actually going to be the case. I really don't think it's going to be the case at all. It's not as if Grundy is going to get cured. I just don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. So it's going to be an explosive rage from Grundy when that happens. Now, guys, I'm sure from this review so far, you can tell that I thought this episode was amazing. I don't really want to repeat myself from previous episodes, reviews, but every episode of Gotham is better than the previous one. It is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And this episode, wow, I don't really know what else much more to say than obviously it's incredible. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown part of this review / Q&A, but I need to move on to the Q&A part now. I don't think I can answer as many questions as normal for obvious reasons that I said at the beginning of this video, but also this video is going on forever, so I need to just answer a select few, and I do apologize for that, but hopefully next week will be different. But I hope you guys enjoy it regardless. So CreepyMan1012 asks, which one is worse, Jerome or Jeremiah? I would have to say that I'm starting to think perhaps Jeremiah. Obviously, Jerome has done worse things, but inside his head, I think Jeremiah will be worse, especially when he's the Joker. I've heard that he has some very, 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 very dark scenes in Gotham. That's to come, obviously, when the transformation has taken place. But yeah, also the fact that he has lied about everything that we learned, that Jerome did none of those things, creating a monster. For what reasons? Just so he could, I don't know, maybe it was sibling rivalry, but to a max extent. Who knows? But yeah, I think Jeremiah is technically worse, especially if he's going to be the Joker one day. He is worse for what he's done. Yeah. Charlotte Ellis asks, why do you think Jeremiah was helping build the Wayne Company? Will there be some sort of secret behind that he did? I think maybe there could be. Apart from that, maybe Thomas Wayne was genuinely just interested in the fact a young prodigy, a young prodigy, a genius. Maybe he generally was that smart that he could help. I don't really know much more else to say than that. They have made a very deliberate point of the young prodigy that he was extremely smart, blah, blah, blah. So I'm inclined to think there is a little bit more to it in terms of the secret side, but we're going to have to wait and see. Papa Terra asks, Jeremiah was playing games with the GCPD. Do you think that he has already planned something for Jerome and others? I don't know about that. I definitely think he was, I don't know if he was playing games with GCPD. We're going to have to wait and see. I definitely think there is more to him, obviously, because the fact that he lied when he was a kid, made such awful lies that impacted someone's life. I mean, as I said, try and seriously put yourself in the shoes of Jerome and imagine what that must have been like. it might actually make you have that one bad day, or days in his case. But I think in terms of what he already had planned for Jerome, I don't think that's the case. I think he did have some plans for Jerome if if Gordon and Harvey hadn't have actually found that room with the CCTV on. I think he maybe have planned to keep him locked away. I think there may be a little bit more sinistry stuff to Jeremiah's mind that he maybe would have done to Jerome locked up. But yeah, I don't think he right now is going to be too messed up until he has that Joker transformation, apart from him just being a real douchebag of a man. But he definitely has the capacity to be an absolute insane person because, as we know, he's going to become the Joker after all. Backroom 1, 2. Why do you think Gotham is ruining the Joker by not making Jerome the Clown Prince of Crime? I don't think Gotham is ruining the Joker at all. I think people just need to also... I think people just need to, like, there's a lot of people saying this, you know, where, you know, I'm going to kind of address this to everyone. You know, they're ruining the show if they don't make Jerome the Joker. If Jerome dies, then I quit. Then to be honest, you should go. Because this show obviously isn't just for you if that is what is going to make you quit. There's so much more to the show. I've said this so many times. I get passionate fans, but you shouldn't quit a show just because they're doing something a bit different. And I'm enjoying this. Sure, there's some things that I don't agree with, but... but no, they're not ruining the Joker by not making Jerome the Clown Prince of Crime. I know everyone wants Jerome to be the Joker, and I even do. But I accept that they're doing a different storyline, and Jeremiah is still going to be an interesting take, and I'm excited for that. Everything I've seen so far is great. So yeah, don't quit the show just because it doesn't go the way you wanted it to go. Bleach is yummy. Oh dear. God, no, Bleach is not yummy. Why did Jerome make his family hate Jerome? Because he thought it was him killing animals or another reason. So yeah, I kind of briefly spoke about this earlier. I'll quickly answer it now. Why did Jeremiah do this? That is the question. He obviously did it for a reason. And if you think about it, if you really think about it, Jerome was just like some happy-go-do-lally kid, kind of just like until this all happened. Like, imagine time after time after time your brother lies about this. Imagine like the emotional wreckage that would do to you as a kid. Man, I can't even imagine. As to why Jeremiah did that, maybe he was jealous of Jerome. Maybe he didn't like him and he made all this stuff up. You really have to think, why do people do stuff like that? And maybe I'm hoping we get more of an answer. All we did get is Jeremiah saying, we both know you wanted to. As I said, I think I got a bit of a theory that maybe it's what Jeremiah wanted to do to Jerome, light his bed on fire, put a knife up to his throat. Maybe at one point the story is exaggerated to a point where Jerome did want to do this stuff because of all the previous lies. Who knows? But as for Jeremiah, I can't wait to find out the reason why. Maybe he will explain and say, yeah, but blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I hated you for this, and this is why I did this. I'm hoping that happens. But if not, he was just an arsehole, a jealous brother or something. Joby22, do you think the blimp contains laughing gas? Yes, that's definitely the case, I would say. I think it's kind of obvious, but who knows, it could be wrong. But you would have to think so, definitely. That's one way of the city maybe, you know, being drowned in gas and going mad. Nathan Taylor asks, so it's his brother that's more evil than him and smarter? Technically, yes, but as for smarter, I think, as I said, Jerome is just as smart as Jeremiah. Fox Ninja 4000 says, what do you think of learning that due to his brother's lies, Jerome was subjected to his own one bad day, which made him insane? Multiple bad days, but still. Now Jerome plans to give his brother his own one bad day, and it definitely is one bad day, and drive Jeremiah insane before attempting to kill him. And the key word being attempting, but who knows, he might succeed, but Jeremiah might come back. While Jerome isn't the Joker by name, he's the Joker by spirit. So yes, this is the comment I was referring to earlier. So in a weird way, there is sort of two Jokers who create one another. So that is fantastic. But as for what do I think of learning that due to blah, 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 that made him insane, I already kind of answered that earlier. I think it's really, really fascinating. And it actually gives me a lot more faith in this, you know, brother storyline. Because before it's like, why wouldn't you do that? You know, why wouldn't you make Jerome the Joker? But I see... No, this is very interesting at the same time, and it kind of makes sense. You know, I see what they're weaving here, and this is why I think people need to hold their breath as well before they quit the show, you know? But anyway, guys, I know this was a freaking long video. Thank you so much for staying to this point in the video. If you did, make it this far in the video, I just really appreciate your support. I know this video may have been a bit different because of friggin' pain problems in my friggin' face, my tooth, and my ear, but I know you guys understand. It's such a fascinating episode. We've got such a ride. So Gotham is going to be insane to come. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like on it, as it really does show support from the channel. It really does help boost this video, and share it. So also share it with your friends, share on Twitter, Facebook, anything, and I'd really, 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 really appreciate if you did that. Thank you to everyone who did actually get this far in the video. Write down in the comment section if you did one bad spray. It just, as I always mention at the minute, it really is cool seeing all the ones who got this far. I really appreciate your support. Also, if you guys want to stay a little bit more up to date with me personally, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. They're my two most active. Links are in the description. I was about to say social medias. Also, guys, if you are new to this channel, why not subscribe to stay more up to date with everything in this channel, everything Gotham nerdy, everything other show nerdy. As always, everybody, I want to say thank you to each and every one of my patrons. They are popping up on the screen around here. If you are interested in becoming a patron, just like one of these guys, head over to the link in the top of my description. Hopefully you like some of the tiers, maybe enough to pledge to one of them, just like some of these guys did. Well, all of these guys did, and I'd really appreciate that. It really does help out the channel, but do not feel obligated to do so. I also have a Discord server. It is so fun there, guys, so be sure to check that out. It's completely free. It's just like downloading Skype. You can do it through your browser if you really want to. But other than that, guys, I need to shut up now and get on with editing this video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.